to have to get on with it when the parents go away is always the problem. It's good for you in the end, I suppose. It's character building, I suppose.
What if the future of the British monarchy has just taken a dramatic turn, one that no one saw coming? In a move that's left royal watchers stunned and insiders scrambling, King Charles has made a bold decision that could change everything. Princess Catherine is no longer just the Princess of Wales, she's Queen. But why now? What does it mean for Queen Camilla? And how will this historic shift reshape the royal family forever? According to sources close to the royal family, this decision wasn't made on a whim. It was the result of ongoing internal discussions and a long-term vision that may have originated years ago with the late Queen Elizabeth II. While this development has generated excitement among many supporters of the monarchy, it has also triggered a wave of emotional and political reaction, especially from within the royal family itself. The moment King Charles stood at the podium in Buckingham Palace to make the announcement was anything but routine. The royal family, senior advisors, and members of the press had gathered for what was initially believed to be a standard address. However, the atmosphere in the room shifted the moment the king began speaking. His tone was calm but serious, and his words carried a clear sense of gravity. He spoke highly of Princess Catherine's commitment to public service, her strength during recent health struggles, and her ability to connect with people across the UK and beyond. But it was when Charles officially stated that Catherine would now hold the title of Queen, not Queen Consort, but Queen, that the real impact of the speech hit home. Gasps could be heard from the audience, followed by hushed whispers and a mix of applause and stunned silence. For those who had assumed that Catherine's future would follow a more traditional path, the announcement came as a genuine surprise. While Catherine has long been admired by the public for her calm presence, charitable work, and ability to represent the monarchy with dignity, the timing and framing of this move have raised a number of questions. In particular, there has been immediate speculation about how this shift affects Queen Camilla, who has spent the past 2 decades gradually building her public image and settling into her role within the royal family. Insiders report that Camilla was visibly emotional following the announcement. Observers at the event noted that while she remained composed in public, her body language suggested deep discomfort. Behind closed doors, some sources say the Queen Consort was left in tears, feeling blindsided by the sudden shift in royal hierarchy. It's important to note that Camilla's journey to public acceptance has not been easy. For years, she faced widespread criticism, largely due to the complicated history surrounding her relationship with Charles and its overlap with his marriage to Princess Diana. Over time, however, she has gained more respect for her charitable work and her quiet but consistent presence at royal events. Now, with Catherine being elevated to queen, many of Camilla's public duties are reportedly being reassigned. These changes have not only altered Camilla's role, but have also created visible tension between the two women. While both have presented a united front in public, those close to the royal household say the atmosphere has grown increasingly strained. Adding another layer to this unfolding story is the involvement of Princess Anne, who is known for being candid and forthright. According to individuals familiar with internal discussions, Anne reminded Charles that their late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, had always seen great potential in Catherine. In private conversations, Anne is said to have made it clear that the former queen viewed Catherine as more than just a supportive royal spouse. She saw her as someone meant to play a leading role in the future of the monarchy. This perspective adds an element of legacy and continuity to the decision. Rather than being an impulsive or politically motivated move, Catherine's new role appears to be the realization of a plan that has been in place for some time. That doesn't make the shift any less significant, though, especially for those within the palace who weren't fully prepared for the timing of the announcement. Among the public, reactions have been mixed. Many have praised the decision as a natural next step in modernizing the monarchy. Supporters argue that Catherine embodies the values needed in a contemporary royal figure: grace, resilience, and a genuine connection to the people. Her work with mental health initiatives, children's education, and veterans has won her widespread admiration. Some see her elevation to queen as recognition of that dedication. Others, however, feel that the decision raises important concerns. For one, there are questions about what this means for Camilla's role moving forward. Some commentators have pointed out that the abruptness of the change could potentially undermine the years of effort she has put into fulfilling her duties. While she was formally given the title of Queen Consort with the support of Queen Elizabeth II before her passing, her current standing now appears to be more symbolic than influential. There's also debate about the broader implications for royal traditions. Historically, the role of queen has either been inherited or assigned through marriage. Shifting that structure, especially in a way that seems to favor one royal over another, has sparked discussions about whether the monarchy is starting to operate more like a modern institution, making leadership decisions based on popularity and public sentiment rather than just lineage. That, in itself, is part of the monarchy's current challenge: how to remain relevant in a changing world. As society becomes more focused on transparency, relatability, and active engagement, the royal family must adapt or risk falling out of step with the public. By positioning Catherine as a leading figure, King Charles may be trying to align the monarchy with these evolving expectations. But in doing so, he also risks alienating those who value tradition and continuity, particularly where Camilla is concerned. It's also worth considering how Catherine herself has responded to this massive shift. Though she has not made any public statements since the announcement, those who have worked closely with her say she has accepted the new role with humility. They describe her as focused, calm, and committed to carrying out her responsibilities with the same level of care and dedication she has shown throughout her time as Duchess of Cambridge and then Princess of Wales. Still, the transition won't be without its challenges. Catherine is stepping into a role that comes with not just ceremonial significance, but deep emotional and historical weight. The title of Queen brings increased visibility, higher expectations, and more scrutiny. Given the circumstances surrounding her appointment, it also places her at the center of an ongoing story about royal dynamics, power, and public opinion. Catherine has long been admired for her poise, her consistent public presence, and her focus on meaningful causes. Her recent battle with cancer, and the way she handled that period with grace and strength, has only solidified her standing in the eyes of the British public and beyond. While many expected her influence to grow over time, the speed and extent of her rise have surprised even some within the royal family. Those close to Catherine describe her as deeply committed to her responsibilities. Her work in early childhood development, mental health awareness, and support for military families has become central to her public identity. Over the years, she has built a reputation not just as a figurehead, but as someone who actively contributes to the causes she represents. Her ability to engage with people across social and generational divides has made her one of the most relatable members of the royal family in recent history. In light of these qualities, it is perhaps unsurprising that Catherine has been called upon to take on more senior duties. However, this has inevitably come at a cost to Queen Camilla's own responsibilities. Several of the public-facing roles and engagements that once formed the core of Camilla's calendar have reportedly been reassigned to Catherine. These include key ceremonial appearances and charitable patronages that Camilla previously championed. While this transition has been portrayed as smooth by royal spokespeople, the reality appears more complicated. Sources close to the palace say that Camilla has been struggling with what feels like a sidelining of her role. After years of working to gain public acceptance, she now finds herself navigating a reduced position within the royal structure. Camilla's path to where she is today was never easy. Following the public and private turmoil tied to her relationship with Charles during his marriage to Princess Diana, Camilla faced decades of intense scrutiny. For a long time, her image was closely associated with controversy and scandal. But over the years, she worked consistently to rebuild her reputation. Her involvement in charitable work, especially around literacy and domestic violence, helped shift public opinion. By the time she became Queen Consort, many in the UK had come to accept, if not fully embrace, her place in the royal family. The recent changes, however, have disrupted that hard-earned stability. As Catherine becomes more central to the monarchy's future, Camilla is increasingly being seen as part of its past. This isn't just a matter of public perception. Internally, it seems clear that the power dynamics have changed. One insider put it plainly: the spotlight has shifted, and Camilla is feeling the absence of it. What makes the situation even more complex is the contrast in how the two women are perceived by the public. Catherine is often described in the media as warm, modern, and accessible. Her presence at events is seen as energizing, and she has a talent for connecting with people in a natural and genuine way. These qualities have made her especially popular among younger generations, many of whom see her as a refreshing representation of royal life. Camilla, by comparison, has maintained a more traditional and reserved approach. While she has her supporters, she has never been able to fully shake off the associations of her past or the public's deep emotional attachment to Princess Diana. This difference in perception has only been heightened since the announcement, with Catherine's profile rising steadily and Camilla's becoming more subdued. Recent public appearances have underscored this shift. Catherine now takes a leading role in high-profile engagements, often flanked by senior advisors and welcomed enthusiastically by crowds. Her speeches and interviews are widely covered in the press and discussed across social media. Camilla's appearances, on the other hand, have become less frequent and draw significantly less attention. Where once she stood at the center of key royal functions, she now often appears on the sidelines or not at all. For some royal observers, this transition is seen as a necessary evolution. The monarchy, they argue, must reflect the society it serves, and that means becoming more modern, more transparent, and more emotionally attuned to public sentiment. Catherine, with her focus on real issues and her approachable manner, seems to fit that brief perfectly. Her popularity isn't just a matter of media spin. It's grounded in years of consistent public service and authenticity. But others caution that the rapid shift in responsibilities could come at a cost. Camilla's supporters point out that she has been a steady presence during difficult times, and that her behind-the-scenes contributions often go unnoticed. They argue that any move to diminish her role risks disregarding the progress she's made and the loyalty she has shown to the institution. This internal divide reflects a broader question facing the monarchy today. How does it balance tradition with change? Camilla represents a more old-fashioned model of royalty, discreet, formal, and somewhat distant. Catherine, meanwhile, is seen as part of a new generation of royals who are expected to be more involved, more expressive, and more open to change. It's not a matter of one being right and the other wrong. It's a matter of direction and tone. King Charles's role in this transition is also being closely watched. His admiration for Catherine has grown more public in recent years. He has praised her ability to represent the crown with dignity and her natural ability to engage with people. These comments, while seemingly innocent, have added fuel to speculation that he is leaning more heavily on Catherine for support, especially as he looks to modernize the monarchy. At the same time, Charles has been a longtime supporter of Camilla, both personally and professionally. Their bond is strong, and he has defended her publicly on numerous occasions. Some royal analysts believe he now finds himself in a delicate position, balancing his loyalty to his wife with his recognition of Catherine's growing importance to the royal family's public image. For Catherine, the new responsibilities bring both opportunity and pressure. Becoming queen in a more functional and active sense means stepping into a role that comes with scrutiny, expectation, and a need for constant performance. While she has shown resilience and dedication so far, the next stage of her journey will likely involve even greater demands on her time, her energy, and her privacy. Meanwhile, for Camilla, this shift could signal a new chapter as well, though one that is more private and behind the scenes. Royal insiders suggest that she may gradually take on a role similar to that of Prince Philip in his later years, offering support from the background while stepping back from regular public engagements. People close to the situation say that this shift has been under discussion for some time within King Charles's inner circle. Among those playing a key role was Sir Clive Alderton, the King's private secretary, and a figure well known for his understanding of both royal protocol and public opinion. Alderton, along with other senior advisors, reportedly worked closely with Charles in recent months to assess how best to secure the monarchy's position in a rapidly changing world. At the core of their discussions was the idea that the monarchy cannot afford to appear static. As institutions around the world come under increased scrutiny and public trust in traditional structures continues to decline, the royal family faces mounting pressure to adapt. The advisors reportedly argued that the monarchy's long-term survival depends not only on upholding tradition, but also on making practical, forward-looking decisions. Elevating Catherine to a more visible and authoritative role was seen as a clear step in that direction. Catherine's personal popularity played a major part in the final decision. Over the years, she has built a strong relationship with the British public. She has done so not through dramatic speeches or political involvement, but by quietly and consistently representing key values: duty, stability, kindness, and accessibility. Her involvement in causes like mental health awareness, child development, and community outreach has resonated with people across generations. The palace sees her as someone who reflects what the modern public wants from a royal figure. The timing of this change was also important. Catherine's recent health challenges brought her even closer to the hearts of the public. Her openness about her cancer diagnosis and her strength during recovery drew widespread sympathy and respect. According to insiders, Charles and his advisors recognized that her response to personal adversity had only strengthened her image as a leader. In their eyes, this was the right moment to formalize her role and give her a title that reflects the influence she already holds in practice. However, the move wasn't without internal resistance. One of the biggest concerns among some royal aides was how this shift would affect Queen Camilla. Camilla has been working for years to win over the public and secure her place in royal history. Her position as Queen Consort had been endorsed by the late Queen Elizabeth II herself, a decision made publicly and with the hope of smoothing over long-standing controversy. Removing Camilla from the central spotlight now, some advisors warned, could reignite old tensions and create a narrative of division. Still, the broader strategic view won out. Those involved in the discussions reportedly believed that while Camilla's role is important, the monarchy's public face must be shaped around individuals who connect most directly with the people. From their perspective, Catherine fits that requirement more clearly and consistently than anyone else in the current generation of royals. The long shadow of Queen Elizabeth II looms over this decision as well. While she was known for her commitment to tradition, those who worked closely with her say she understood the importance of preparing the next generation. Over the years, she took a particular interest in Catherine's development. According to some palace insiders, the late Queen quietly guided her, offering support and mentorship as Catherine stepped into increasingly visible roles. Several royal commentators have since suggested that Elizabeth saw in Catherine the qualities necessary to take the monarchy forward in a complex and unpredictable world. It's also worth noting that this isn't just a matter of shifting titles. It's a redefinition of roles and expectations. By calling Catherine Queen rather than Queen Consort, Charles is acknowledging her as a leading figure in her own right, not simply as a supportive partner. This choice sends a clear message that the monarchy is evolving. It places Catherine in a position of symbolic authority, but also of real responsibility, with the expectation that she will take on a central role in shaping the monarchy's future direction. At the same time, this move has reignited debate about Camilla's legitimacy and relevance. Despite having slowly rebuilt her public image, Camilla continues to face comparisons to both Princess Diana and now Catherine. Her journey into the royal fold has been marked by complexity, and for some members of the public, her presence still feels controversial. The decision to reduce her responsibilities could be seen as a reflection of the fact that she has never fully overcome the skepticism surrounding her. Some royal watchers believe Camilla views this shift as a personal and political setback. She has reportedly expressed frustration in private about the pace of change and what it means for her future within the royal family. Those close to her say that she feels increasingly overshadowed by Catherine's rise and unsure about what her role will look like moving forward. From a political and institutional standpoint, the decision also signals a broader effort by the monarchy to align with modern expectations. Today's public expects royal figures to be relatable, active in social issues, and transparent in their conduct. Catherine's ability to fulfill those roles makes her a strategic asset. Her visibility at major events, her calm approach to public speaking, and her dedication to serious causes give her a kind of quiet credibility that can't easily be manufactured. There is, however, a delicate balance to maintain. While Catherine's new role may help the monarchy stay relevant, it also risks alienating those who prefer a more traditional royal structure. There are concerns, particularly among older supporters of the crown, that the recent changes could set a precedent for titles and roles being shaped by popularity or sentiment rather than protocol and history. Additionally, the announcement has raised questions about what comes next. If Catherine is being positioned as a key figure now, does that mean she is being prepared for an even more central role in the future? Is this part of a longer-term transition plan, not just for Charles's reign, but for the monarchy as a whole? Royal experts are divided on the issue, but many agree that this change marks the beginning of a new phase, one where public approval carries more weight than it has in previous generations. As King Charles continues to push for a more streamlined and focused royal family, the decisions being made now will likely shape the institution for decades to come. The move to elevate Catherine is seen as part of a larger vision, one that prioritizes connection over ceremony and service over symbolism. For some, that's a welcome shift. For others, it's a break from tradition that may prove harder to accept over time. One thing is certain: the monarchy is changing. Whether this evolution proves successful will depend not just on Catherine's ability to rise to the occasion, but also on how the institution manages the roles of other senior royals, including Camilla. The challenge now is to maintain unity, manage perception, and ensure that every member of the royal family feels valued, even as roles are reassigned and power subtly changes hands. Since the announcement at Buckingham Palace, social media has lit up with hashtags supporting Catherine's new position. Many users have praised her years of consistent public service, her ability to relate to people, and her calm resilience during recent personal health challenges. Supporters describe her as a modern royal who represents stability, compassion, and relevance. In these discussions, Catherine is often framed as the bridge between the old and the new, a figure who respects tradition but understands the evolving expectations of a 21st century public. In particular, her work with mental health charities, child welfare programs, and community initiatives has been widely cited as evidence of her suitability for this more prominent role. People who have met her at engagements often speak about her approachability and kindness. For many, she represents the kind of leadership they want to see from the monarchy: down to earth, proactive, and quietly strong. At the same time, not everyone is celebrating the shift. A considerable number of people have expressed concern about the impact this change has had, and may continue to have, on Queen Camilla. For years, Camilla has worked to rehabilitate her public image, taking on a variety of charitable roles and representing the royal family with dignity. Her appointment as Queen Consort, supported publicly by Queen Elizabeth II, was seen as the culmination of a long journey toward acceptance. Now, with her responsibilities being scaled back and her visibility declining, some members of the public are questioning whether Camilla is being treated fairly. Critics of the decision argue that she has earned her place and that this sudden shift could undo much of the goodwill she spent years building. There are growing discussions about how abrupt the change feels and whether it reflects a larger trend of making decisions based on public opinion rather than royal precedent. These discussions have reignited long-standing debates about tradition versus modernization within the monarchy. Supporters of the current shift argue that the monarchy must evolve to survive. They point to growing public disengagement with traditional institutions and say that the royal family needs to be more relatable, more active in addressing real issues, and more in touch with the people it represents. From this perspective, elevating Catherine makes perfect sense. She's already widely admired, and giving her a more central role reflects the monarchy's willingness to adapt. Others, however, warn that moving too quickly to change the structure of the royal family, especially in ways that seem to sideline senior members, could undermine stability. They worry that decisions made based on popularity risk turning the monarchy into something resembling a political body, where favor can rise or fall with the public mood. This could, they argue, weaken the very foundation that has allowed the institution to endure for centuries. Camilla's own position continues to draw interest. While she still holds the title of Queen Consort, it's increasingly clear that her role will shift to something more private. Reports from palace insiders suggest she may take on a behind-the-scenes function similar to the one Prince Philip adopted in his later years, supporting the monarch discreetly while leaving the public spotlight to others. This shift could allow Camilla to focus more on personal causes, perhaps away from the intense scrutiny that has always followed her. However, it also raises questions about her long-term legacy. Despite her hard work, Camilla remains a polarizing figure for some, and her reduced public role may reinforce perceptions that she was never fully accepted by the British public or the wider Commonwealth. Catherine, in contrast, now finds herself at the center of a new chapter in royal history. Her growing responsibilities signal not just personal success, but a broader transformation in how the monarchy presents itself. Unlike many of her predecessors, she is expected to play an active, visible role in shaping the institution's future. The monarchy is now leaning into themes of accessibility, compassion, and social relevance, values that Catherine has long represented in her work. The contrast between the two women, one gradually stepping back and the other stepping forward, reflects more than just personal differences. It highlights the monarchy's attempt to walk a fine line between tradition and change. On one hand, there's the need to honor history and recognize those who have contributed steadily over time. On the other hand, there's the pressure to engage with new audiences, to feel relevant, and to reflect the values of modern Britain. How this balance is managed will have lasting implications. The public's response to these changes suggests that there is broad support for evolution within the monarchy, but also a demand for fairness and clarity. People want to feel that the royal family is not only adapting, but doing so with integrity and care for all its members. This transition also comes at a time when the monarchy is under increasing global scrutiny. With the role of royal families changing in many countries, and debates about republicanism continuing in some parts of the Commonwealth, the way the British monarchy navigates internal change matters more than ever. Catherine's rise is seen as a sign of strength by many, but it also places enormous pressure on her to meet expectations and avoid missteps. As for the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, her influence continues to be felt in these changes. Those who knew her say she had a long-term vision for the monarchy, one that included preparing the next generation to lead with both grace and effectiveness. Her reported support for both Camilla and Catherine speaks to her understanding of balance. While she formally endorsed Camilla's role as Queen Consort, she also reportedly saw in Catherine the future of the monarchy. That vision now appears to be taking shape. The challenge for King Charles, Catherine, Camilla, and the wider royal family will be managing the personal and public aspects of this change at the same time. Unity will be key, as will transparency about roles and responsibilities moving forward. As things stand, Catherine's profile continues to rise. Her presence at public events is growing, and she is becoming a more frequent voice in royal communications. Meanwhile, Camilla's appearances have become less frequent, and palace sources indicate this may be the start of a longer-term shift in how her role is defined. In the end, this moment marks a turning point for the British monarchy. It is not just about titles or roles. It's about how the institution sees itself and how it wants to be seen by the world. As Catherine steps further into the spotlight and Camilla transitions into a quieter phase, both women are helping to shape what the monarchy looks like in the modern era. Whether this transformation is seen as a success will depend on what comes next. How the public responds, how the royal family adapts, and how the monarchy continues to engage with the real concerns of the people it represents will all play a role.